have the power.
Hey Hero fans, this is Todd. And so I'm making this video because I found this cool, inspired, original concept art, part of the Sketchbook series of He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. So before we jump into the Sketchbook series figure, let's talk about where it came from and what it's all about. So I have here the Power and Honor Foundation book. And for those that don't have this book yet, it is really cool. I would suggest you get it. The price is a little high, but if you see it for sale, pick it up. Don't question, just get it. It is way, way cool, and I use it all the time to look at stuff. So in this book, we happen to have the sketchbook He-Man. Actually, it's before. Let me readjust this for a second so we can look at this easier instead of me trying to hold it up. I just looked at this minutes before the... Oh, there it is. There we go. There is the sketchbook He-Man. And he is kind of cool looking. Notice he has his regular He-Man armor. He has the helmet. He has a regular battle axe and a shield and a boot knife and some other cool aspects to him. And then we have, of course, these other versions of the original He-Man and Skeletor, which looks more like Beast-Man, which I know later on we ended up being Demo-Man and Vicor, but you guys get the idea. And that has the cool helmet. And then let me see some other things in this awesome cool book. And then we have the Roger Sweet Build-A-Figure, where he took big gems and he put extra clay on them and stuff, and then made these figures here. Now what's interesting is, let me just jump back for a minute and take a look at this He-Man here. And you will notice he has the battle axe with the holes right here. He has the helmet that does not have the horns on top, just the one center horn. And then he has these arm cuffs that are kind of squared off. And we see that also in this picture here. Again, we have He-Man. This is different, though. You can see it's got holes in the Iron Cross. Actually, that one does too. And then again, we have kind of squared off hand guards. It comes up over his hand as well. And then some sort of belt across his fur here. And then look at the shin guards. They actually have the He-Man symbol Iron Cross right on there as well. And you can see also right here, it's squared off again. And again, no horns on top, just the one little pawn piece on the top of the head. So, kind of interesting that actually looks a lot more like Roger Sweet's version of He-Man. You can see the Iron Cross down there. And instead of being dented in, he dented them out. And then, of course, it looks almost like a some kind of cup. Like you turn it over and fill it full of wine or something, and you know, be the Holy Grail or whatever. But anyway, so there we go. There are Roger Sweet's first original figures released. And then as we go further, we see the coloring of this particular He-Man. Now this one has the Viking helmet looking thing with the two horns. And then he has gray armor with the red and orange and brown and reddish color and white teeth. It's pointed out there. Eye detail, no white. And you can see they're planning on using labels for a lot of the coloring of the figure originally. So kind of cool the way it kind of morphed into the figure that we have. So now let's take a look at the action figure after seeing all those details. And we might refer back to these pictures as we go along. So let me just go ahead and readjust my camera here. And I'll just put this up against my desk like that. We'll see how that works. And let's bring this on in. So, if you take a look at them, we have... Well, let's open them first. Then we'll take a look at all the different stuff. So, on the back of the box, it shows this really cool thing where he's fighting some characters. And, of course, everyone wants her really bad. So, we'll see if we actually get her. And then we have some crazy Skeletor with all kinds of locks and chains on him. And I've never even seen the concept art for this. That's different. I've seen her and seen someone like him. So, interesting. All right, let's get this open. So, I happened to go to Target today to find a different action figure. It was the Wonder Woman Jax Sonic Wonder Woman, and it had it online. I was all excited. I ran there to get it, and they were gone. Gone. And then I saw this sitting on the shelf, and I thought, well, I kind of wanted that too, so I'll pick that up instead. And that is how I got this figure here in my hands, is I was actually after a different figure, a different Wonder Woman. All right, there is the figure. Actually, it's funny. Looking at his toes reminds me of those Bible figures they used to make way back in the late 80s, early 90s, where you get Goliath or David or somebody else, and you had these feet that had sandals on them like that. That is funny. Funny. All right, so you can see they got some really cool stuff. And then on the inside here, we have a whole bunch of sketch art, which is not the original art. This is all brand new drawings based on the similarities of the original art. So that's kind of cool. You can see here, this is from the comic book, but it's the new He-Man with the leg pieces, and even this here is from a famous drawing. Even this here is from the back of the card art, but switched around, but changed to give him the helmet and the different armor. So it's weird to see it because it makes you feel like that was the original artwork, but no, these are just new artworks inspired on the original artworks. So kind of interesting. All right, let's stop chitter-chattering and get to the figure. So the figure is an Origins version. Now, let me go ahead and try to straighten this up. There we go. And so he comes with a battle axe. And let's just cut these little tabs off here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now, I haven't bought a lot of figures from the Sketchbook series. I've only bought him and then Cyclone. I did not buy the Grizzlor. Or was it Spikor? I think it was Spikor, actually. I think it was a 2-pack. I don't know. There was some other ones. There was like a Hordak 2, I think. Anyway. There we go. And, of course, the cool extra head. So, here is our figure. And if you didn't know about Origins, let's do a quick rundown of the articulation. We have ankle articulation. We have a boot cut usually. Yep, this has that too. Single jointed knees. Hip movement. Waist movement. Shoulder movement. Single jointed elbows. And then wrist movement. And then, of course, head movement. And these figures are made to come apart at the shoulders, the waist, the boots, and the head. And this particular one does not come apart at the legs. Some of the newer ones do. There we go. Hooray! And he's got a big old spot for his battle axe to fit in there. So he can shove his battle axe. So I could shove it down deeper, but I guess not. Into his back. Alright. So, if you look at him, when I first looked at him, I was thinking it's going to look like this guy right here. And I was really excited, because that's what I wanted, that's what everybody wants. But unfortunately, he looks more like the Roger Sweet version, which we've already got a bunch of those. So let's just jump back a little bit in time. Whoop, 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 whoop. We got a cool 3-pack that gave us these Vicron figures, and they came in 3 different costumes, and you got one figure, and then inside each box was the extra costumes you could change them out in. And the box either had the Barbarian, the Tank, or the Space Guy that you could get. And this was really cool, and it was a really cool thing to the fans. So technically, we kind of already got this guy in Origins, but again, they changed him a little bit, and the cuffs match the pictures, but these cuffs match the actual figures. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of a mix of the drawing and the actual figures that were released. Let's take a look at the drawing here. Let's see if I can find it again. There we go. And in the drawing, we have the point on top. We have the He-Man armor with the holes in it. And then we have the loincloth, the belt, the squared off cuffs, and the boot pieces. Let me scoot this over this way. As you can see in this particular artwork right here, a little bit better version of it. And you can see his bare feet and his sandals. So I guess we got this figure. This is what we got. It looks right on for that. So I guess it wasn't the Roger Sweet figure at all. It was based on this one right here. So there we go. There is the artwork that inspired the figure. Whew! That was a long ways around for what I was trying to get to. And of course he comes with the battle axe that has the holes in it. Now, on this picture, I'm not seeing this weird little shape right here. But on this picture, you can see that weird little shape kind of coming down on those edges. That's a good detail to catch, because we've had this created before with Masterverse, and when they made the battle axe, they just made it totally rounded with a little bit of flare in the middle. I don't know, maybe that's a little too much flare. Yeah, they went a little heavy on the flare there. Not enough on this one, too much on this one. But still cool. Masterverse! So, you can see again, we've kind of already had this guy made at one time, but in a different format. Not so much of the sketchbook, but closer to the actual Roger Sweet figure. Now this one, it's funny how much the Roger Sweet figure and the sketchbook look very similar. Very similar. Alright, let's keep going on. So the one I was hoping we would get was this one right here. That's what I was hoping for. Now, as you guys know, I do collect classics. I don't collect Origins that much anymore. I do have some, and I'll make a whole video showing which ones I decided to curate and keep. But to make this figure, we need some things. One thing we need is we actually need that new head right here that we got. So I bought this for one reason and one reason only. This head right here. This head, right? You got it. And I happen to have some Chinese knockoffs that I got. And who knows, they may just be ones from the factory that they had someone got. But anyway, they came from China and they're kind of complete, but not fully complete. And I got a bunch of these in different alliterations. There they are. And you can see the skin tones of these three are all different, which is kind of weird. And the faces all look kind of strange too. So I was looking at these, and the trick is I have to find something that matches his head. Oh, and none of these guys match this awful yellow. This is the closest. So not only am I going to have to put this head on one of these guys, I'm going to have to paint it too to match. And so I was debating which body to use, because this one here is a little too reddish for me. This one here is more brown, but it doesn't match the other He-Man figures. But I think I'm going at this one. So let's take a look at this figure here. Now he does have a lot of extra spacing in his boots there. And this guy's boots also has a lot of spacing in there. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. So I may mix and match for a little while until I get exactly what I want to find just the right figure. So he's obviously going to need a different loincloth. Let's see. Oof. He's kind of pinkish and yellowish depending on what part of his body you look at. I've already stole his boots for fixing other figures. I think I got an Ular body somewhere. Ular. Look at his hairline. That is crazy. So I'm not going to do it in this video. I'm not going to actually make the custom in this video, but just giving you guys a heads up that I plan on trying to make a custom. So before we get too far into the craziness, let me go and move all these figures out of here. Throw them back into my pile of figures. We also got this figure right here. Of course, I got the wrong head on him. And he came with this head. And this Viking head is pretty cool. This was his Vikor. And he had a lot of different things you can do with them. Like, I've actually put him on a King Grayskull body one time, which looked totally awesome. Putting him on the King Grayskull body. It's probably one of my favorite ways to use that head. It just looks so cool. And his sword must still be in the box. And then I also stuck it on a Vikeron body, which also looks really cool. It's like, oh yeah, I think that looks better than the Vikeron head we got normally. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. I just realized this is not Vikor's head. It's just Vikor's hair. It's still Vikeron's head. That is hilarious. I forgot I did that. So I could still put the regular head armor on there. That is so funny. Which is why I had this one left over to put the hair on. Look at that. All right. Now I still have one of these. Oh, there's this. There is his blade. I still have one of these unopened. So I still have one that's been unaltered. Looks like I might have switched his boots out too. I don't think it's the regular Vikeron boots. I don't remember. Or Vikor. Alright. That is too funny. Yeah, I can see. That's just how the figure was. You'd swap out his hair for other pieces. Make him the spaceman or whatever. Crazy, crazy. Alright. Well, I think that is all that I have for this video. So, I guess the question I like to ask, is it worth it? Is it worth buying this guy? Many of you are not going to like my answer. I spent over $20 on him today at Target. Let's see, my Target receipt. He was $19.99, and after tax, he was over $21. No, he's not worth $21. If he's on clearance, sure, I'd get him on clearance. And again, the only part that I really, really like is the extra head. That's not his head. Is the extra head. But then looking at it, it's not the right skin tone for me to make a cool custom, and I already have heads very similar to it already. So, but you know what? Let's go ahead and swap the head out just to see how it looks. Maybe I'll look at it and say, oh yeah, that's really cool. Oh yeah, that's really cool. I do like that head better though. Better than the goblet on top. Of course, they didn't make it quite a goblet on this one like they did the other one. But he does look better with the yellow head. Hold on a sec. Let me see if I got another He-Man sitting around. I think the skin tone is way too different. Let's see. How close is your skin tone? Yeah, he's like really yellow. Hold on a second. I think I have another yellow figure somewhere. I thought he was more yellow, but I guess not. I mean, he is closer. You could probably stick that head on there and get away with it. Let's go and try that and see. Oh, my head! Oh, my light just died. Alright, I got a new light. Let's continue on. And let's stick this blonde head with the Viking helmet on here. Ugh. It's a little off, but not too terribly bad. It's a closer match than it would be to use like this body or something. So, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm probably not. I was planning on trying to make a custom out of him for classics, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I'll keep that one. I'll keep this one. I may change out the armor to be gray. I don't know. So that skin tone is just awful. Awful, awful. Alright, well, thanks for joining me. Now I got a pile of heroes all over the place. Look at that mess. All those figures just sitting there. My book is out. Let me know if you think it's worth $21 or $19.99, depending on where you're at. I suppose if you're in Oregon, there's no tax, so it will be under $20. And I'd like to hear from you guys what you think. Worth it or not worth it? I don't think it's worth it. Again, if he was less than that, maybe so. If his coloring was different, so I could actually use him for a custom further figures, then maybe so. But being the coloring's so different too, it just doesn't make it worth it for me. Anyway, thanks for joining me. And like they say in the 1987 movie, let me line this up. Line it up. I got this new tripod and sometimes it's just a little shaky. Good journey. Bye now.
If you found enjoyment, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Do it.
I have the power.